Hi guys, welcome back to another GGF video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Z170A MPOWER gaming titanium motherboard from MSI. So we're not going to be doing a full review, we're just going to be doing unboxing, having a look at this board. This board is very different to many other boards out there. It's full sort of silver. I'm not sure if it's the actual titanium color, but I guess a fitting name for a board this color is probably titanium because everyone's familiar with titanium being a silver color. It's got a really nice silver backplate. The whole board PCB is silver. So it's just something really different out there than a lot of boards we're used to seeing at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll do an unboxing, we'll have a look at the board itself, and I'll go through some of the Mystic lighting effects, which is quite new to MSI. It's got an RGB strip header on board. You can tie that into the Mystic lighting effects as well. So we'll have a look at that, and yeah, we'll see how we go. Okay, now just a quick look inside the box, just to see what we have there. We have the board, of course. It does have a top cover. I have taken that off. So we've have a look at the board a little bit later on. See what else we have in here. IO shield. We covered that a little bit later on. Nice looking IO shield. We've got some RGB LED strip headers. Now I do mention that later on. Looks like we have two sizes, a long one and a small, shorter one. That all incorporates with the MSI Mystic lighting effects. We have a standard MSI bridge there. That's probably definitely for two-way. We've got some M connectors, so these are just to for your front panel connectors. They just make it a little bit easy if you're reconnecting them and connecting them. You just plug them onto this block, and then this block just goes straight on the board. Makes it a bit easier. We have a bunch of SATA connectors, looks like 6 all up. We've got some straight, some straight angles. Yeah, the same in each one. So we've got straight angles, 90s, and just some straight through ones there. Moving on to, looks like your drivers and any utilities in there. Probably don't really need that these days, just get everything off the net. Once again, we have like a door handle sort of hanger. I'm not here, game mode, I'm sorry, busy gaming. Just a nice little touch there if you want that. This is quite interesting. So this is media sample for performance qualification. I've seen these before on boards. Now this isn't typed, this is completely handwritten. So someone has run this board through, tested with a 980 Ti, tested with some Geo memory, Samsung SSD, got some scores here for 3D Mark. So that's really nice. Like you can use this as sort of a performance benchline or baseline if you've got similar specs, just to see that you're not running into any issues. We've got a nice gaming G series sort of hard, that's a metal badge. That's nice, throw that on your case. We have some cable stickers. These aren't cable ties, these are stickers to distinguish. You put these around your SATA cables or any other cables, so you can say like this is a boot drive, this is my games, this is my MP3s, stuff like that. Kind of handy to have. I don't really use those, but other people probably do. Thank you for choosing this. This is probably your warranty or your information card to register. For that, we have this humongous Z170A MPOWER gaming manual. It's really probably because it's in quite a few languages. Still haven't hit English. All right, so English is there. So yeah, you're looking at about that much for your English. So yeah, there's probably about 6 languages there. And this is probably what most people will need. Just your standard quick installation guide, CPU cooler, putting in your M.2s, putting in your RAM, all that stuff, putting the motherboard in. Probably if you're buying such a high-end board, I'm assuming you've probably used stuff like this before. And yeah, pretty much even tells you how to insert the CD into a CD-ROM drive. So it's got everything in there for you. Anyway, that's inside the box. Nothing else. I don't think set up here. We'll just go over some of the main features. We're not going to cover everything, but we just want to have a look at some of the standout features that we do like on this board. Now, as you can see, we've got this silver color here. Really nice sort of silver theme going on here, silver and black. We've got this nice cover over here. Now, bear in mind, this is plastic along here, but you'll notice on the heat sinks, the MOSFET heat sinks, and on the chipset heatsink, this is all steel. So this is a really nice sort of a rough sort of steel finish, and then you got the plastic here. So of course we've got your CPU socket. This board is supporting the latest Intel 6th gen processors, so all your 6700K, 6600s, all those, it'll support that. It's based on the Z170. Now looking at sort of the slot spacing, you'll probably notice this is probably the first board I've ever seen where your first 16 by slot starts all the way down here. I can only assume MSI has done this to allow for the humongous 110mm M.2 SSD if you will be running those. And down below we've got your standard 80mm M.2 slot. So just bear in mind, if you are going to be running your first card, it's going to be running say double slot. It's going to be taking up this area here instead of on your sort of other boards up the top. Now for multi-GPU support for SLI, this will support 2-way, and on Crossfire, this will support 3-way. Only reason for Crossfire will support more is because Crossfire can run at 4-by, whereas SLI can't. So running 2 cards, your slots are gonna run at 8 and 8, and then for your Crossfire, it's gonna run at 8, 8, 4. I actually thought it would have been 8, 4, 4, but it is 8, 8, 4, and that's why your SLI cannot run in there. And of course, if you're running 1 card, you will get the standard, your standard 16 by, which is what you want. Now, I can also confirm that these 2 M.2 slots for your SSDs can be rated, and you can make those bootable via the UEFI BIOS. Now, a lot of boards don't supply that or don't feature that. You need to have your RAID options, the Intel RAID Manager, inside the BIOS to be able to create the RAID, and then you can make that bootable. So that's really nice, you can do that. But bear in mind that one of the slots the M.2 slots is shared with your U2 over on the side here. That's if you're running an Intel SSD that supports that. And if you are going to be running the 2 M.2s in RAID, you will lose a few SATA ports. So you're not going to be able to run all one M.2, second M.2, the U.2, and then all the SATA slots together. So that's pretty much standard on most boards, especially with the Z170 chipset. You do get 20 lanes all up for storage, so it is better than X99. X99 you get 8 lanes all up for storage. You do only get your 16 lanes for your CPU. That's why you are limited through here, but whereas X99 you do get your much more lanes for the CPU, but you do get a beefed up amount of lanes for your chipset. And also it's a nice touch that these M.2 slots are also SATA and PCI compatible. So if you've got older M.2 SSDs that are SATA based, you can run them, and you can run the newer ones that are, say, the PCI 2 and 4-by, the PCIe ones, which is nice. Moving up to your memory, DDR4, it'll probably support all the way up to 3600 plus OC, non-ECC, which is standard. And we've also got the steel armor in the DIMM slots, and we've got the steel armor on the PCIe slots. Now, I really think that does blend in nicely with this board, only because you've got the silver. A lot of other boards, I think the steel armor does sort of stand out a bit because you've got either a black PCB or a white PCB or something completely different, whereas this is going for a whole silver theme. You've got really nice sort of blending with the steel armor. Moving on to some of the other features, we got the Mystic lighting from MSI, which is exclusive to MSI, in the Mystic lighting, which has LEDs all over the board. I recently just fired up the MSI Carbon, the Godlike board, and I had no idea that there's not sort of diagnostic LEDs to show you status. They've actually thrown on other LEDs just for sort of bling feature. Now you can install their Mystic lighting software. I might actually do this later on in this video and just show you how cool you can do all these fancy lightning effects where the whole board does these fancy cool effects. And you've also got down the bottom here your JLED 1, which is your RGB strip header, and you can control that through the Mystic lighting as well. And then no doubt we've got your chipset that will light up there as well. Moving on to some of the other features, we've got a USB 3.0 Type-C internal. That is a nice feature. And then we've got your standard USB 3 internal header, which is on the right angle there. And then we have one that is normal place on, which is nice. So you've got the option of 2, or in some cases you may need to use both of them. Now you've also got your sort of, this is a sort of cool looking diagnostic LED output here. It's not the real sort of high thick chunky one that's got like black casing. This is more sort of a flat sort of surface mount output reader, which is nice to see. Moving on to your standard 8-pin EPS power right up the top here. Just needs 8, don't really need anything more than that on Z170. And then you got the standard 24-pin. Now the back of this board is really nice. As you can see, it follows this sort of steel, sort of titanium effect onto the rear. We've got the steel armor. Just a shame you really can't see this once it's in. It just looks so nice in person. So that is a nice touch there. Now taking a look at the rear I/O ports here, we have what MSI call their sort of PS2 game port. They've been doing this on a lot of their boards. I'm not sure if this really does anything. I'm not sort of a hardcore gamer, but it may or may not. It's still there. It can't be too bad to have that on there. We've got standard USB 2.0 ports to there. They've gone with DVI. That's interesting. That looks like a standard DVI port. Not sure if that's still needed, but it is handy for a fallback option. Now we've got some more USB 3.1. Now these are Gen 2. I didn't even know Gen 2 was out for USB 3.0, but these are Gen 2, you got your Type A, and then we've got your Type C. Now these two red ones over here are USB 3.1 Type A. These are Gen 1. I'm not really sure what the difference is, I'll have to check that out. We've got some more standard USB 2.0s up the top, and we have a HDMI port. So they've opted to go a DVI instead of DisplayPort. Not sure why the move was for that. We've got your standard Intel Gigabit Ethernet port there. Now that is the fancy one that lights up. You can see all inside there, that's all clear. That's gonna light up bright red. Now this is the same as on the Godlike board. That looks really cool. And now we've got your audio, standard audio ports there. You've got your optical out there. Now this is a nice sort of sound card on this board. It does have your amplifiers for your rear ports and your front panel header, so that is a nice touch there. Not too much more going on there. And then you've got the IO shield. Once you sort of get the IO shield on there, sort of really nice. It sort of just blends in nicely with this whole concept of this titanium feel. Okay, now taking a look at the missing lighting and the lighting effects. First of all, I want to say, I did say the chipset heatsink looks like it lights up, but it doesn't. That's just a painted sort of surface mount logo on there. It's only the X99 which does light up. So yeah, just scrap that I said that it lights up. But bear in mind, there are some little surface mount LEDs on the PCB. You've got 2 in each corner of the chipset block, and you've got some around the audio. There's not as many as I thought around the rest of the board, but it's the Godlike Carbon that I was thinking about, that MSI does. I recently put that in a build, and that's got crazy lighting all over it. You can make it do lightning, red with white lightning. That's insane, but this one's a little bit trimmed down. I guess it does come down to price. But taking a look at the lighting, you've got the LED strip header, that is RGB. You plug that straight in, you've got a heap of features for that. You got flashing, you got cycling, you can change individual colors. You can sync the RGB header to the rest of the lighting, the audio, and around the chipset heatsink, or you can run them all separately. Now, I will tell you that the chipset heatsink and the audio LEDs are white only, they're not RGB, so just bear in mind that even though you'll be able to get RGB through your LED strip header, you'll only be able to get white through the LEDs on the board. Now you can see the audio does all the same features. It does the flashing, the breathing, double flashing, all that. Same with the chipset, does the flashing, double flashing, breathing, all of that, and you can set them all to music as well, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this video. Looking at price for this, I did a quick search on Static Ice. You're looking at about $400 to $420 Australian, which is the very price between all your top resellers, so PLE, PC Case Gear, Scorptech, M-Wave, all those guys. It's around there, so that price isn't too bad for what you're getting. You're getting a heap of the latest features. You're getting your U2, your dual M.2, you're getting your dual USB 3 headers, the Gen 2 USB 3.1, and you're getting this awesome color scheme with the backplate, so that's really nice. Just one last thing, MSI did send us its big brother, the X99 titanium. Now this thing is an absolute monster, 4-way, which can be done there easily. It's got a heap of features, so I'll be doing a build in this, but I'll be throwing this in a video beforehand, similar to like this video, covering some of the main things. This has some crazy audio. It's got dual DACs for front and the rear, but yeah, that is the G-Skill RAM. That does look really nice as well with that, so yeah, stay tuned for that. We will be doing that one. Just want to thank MSI for sending these out for us to use in builds and do the videos on. Thanks to you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next time, and see you later.